and it's October. So.
Yeah.
Three presentations.
Summer's definitely over.
Three, not presentation, but.
But
Yeah.
he's a front nine, but Steve about halfway through the back end.
So far, one person. I think the other thing was.
Yeah, 31, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
He is really a good butter.
He is.
I mean, I think it's one of the strongest.
Who's up?
Bill Rainey.
Oh,
What is she, 35, 31 or 30?
40, 31.
40, 31.
31.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello, sorry, Dale.
Huh. Huh.
Glass open. Sliding glass closed.
I forgot his parking pass, so he had to go back up.
Thanks. Now he's good.
You know what? The arm was up when I drove in.
Oh, wait till you try to get out.
That's what I was thinking.
You're here for the duration.
I've talked my way out of worse places, so.
One of them's up and the other one has a cone where you can't get in, so. One of them's stuck up.
I knew I was running late, so I just,
I still have some water. You want some water?
I would love some water. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
We're not waiting on you or anything, Mike.
I appreciate that too.
Yeah, I couldn't find, regular pricing. It just said dynamic pricing. I'm like, I'm not sure what that means.
So dynamic pricing is like a plane ticket. When it gets really busy, the prices go up. Of open times, the prices go down.
Supply and demand, huh?
Yeah. There's an algorithm built into the T sheet that does that, and it factors how many days out the tea time is and everything else. I used it for a little while.
It's roughly 30.
I mean, I looked all through their website trying to find something and that's all I could find.
When every tea time wasn't guaranteed to be booked, that was a lot more important. Now it's like just max it out. They're gonna sell. So
All yours.
All meeting in order. October, whatever. Any public comments? I
Oh,
see.
no. Wait a minute, did I print the wrong?
Can't answer that.
Oh my gosh, I think I did. Does yours say September 17th on top?
Yeah, we've got other copies, like there's.
No, mine says October 15th.
It's October.
I guess I had one in my folder. Never mind.
Well, like, yeah,
But
just Jesse.
disregard, usually
All right, back to public comments. I see nobody here, so we shall move on to approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Everybody has received a copy, I assume.
I just had one comment.
Okay.
The breakdown of the round information, it was kind of hard to follow. It wasn't kind of lined up, so I had to.
It was.
I
Did get the gist of it, but it was a little bit askew there
on push.
on all around the other information. The
Finance round report.
finance and round report, it kind of jumped all over the place.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read.
We can do that.
Yeah, I can get it corrected.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, moving on. Finance and rounds update, of which if you want to have the mics out to record this,
There's, you can actually pick it up.
Okay, all right.
Maybe that's the beginning of
Got it?
Started moving this to the beginning of the meeting, just so kind of, before we start discussing, we know where we're at. The financials, typically we get those around the middle of the month from finance, the official segment, and I did not get those today, so, I'll probably get those before the end of the week and I'll send them out. Should be fine though. I'll just kind of go through the regular numbers here. Looking at year-to-date rounds, we're about 10,000 rounds down, 9,900. Again, being close and everything, that's about what's expected. That's still over 2022, even though we had our busiest course shut down for a month. September alone, almost dead on. Last year, just under 19,000. Okay, yeah. Year-to-date car rental, I was really hoping we would, even though we were shut down, we lost all that revenue during that time, that we were gonna catch up and still meet last year. We're gonna need a little good weather, to get to that point. We're still at 96% of where we're at last year, not bad at all things considered. I still think we can probably get within 20,000-30,000 of where we're at last year, unless we have terrible weather for the next 2 months. So we're over about 1.1 million for the year so far on car rentals.
Question on that real quick.
Yep.
Even though you're down a little bit, that's still well within the parameters that we had set for paying off the cards, correct?
But yeah, I'll get to that in a second. That's doing really well. And you can see every course is, Mac is almost dead, even in the text. So with them being closed, that's the only issue. Yeah, I'll get to where the card load is in just a second. The food and beverage numbers were up, whatever that is, $50,000. Over last year, we, a little bit at Auburn, definitely at Mac and Sim, we have been throwing out all kind of new stuff, just trying to see what sticks, what people like. We're doing breakfast burritos this week at Mac. It went over really well. We did, just a lot of different things. Trevor's been working really hard on putting kind of the policy guide on food handling, but the waste and the inventory controls and all that stuff, really tightening up on that so we can monitor all of those things. We can do the packaged goods, that's easy, you can just count. But the waste on any food that we prepare, we're really putting the controls on that so we can monitor that and make sure our food costs stay where they need to be. So, all in all, we did not have the food and beverage person that for most of this season. Now he's back in, we can really focus on trying to grow this again, but it's still, even so, I'm pretty happy with where we're at, but there's definite room for improvement there.
Food and beverage.
Yep.
I know we kind of seem to pre-cook or put it in the warmers out front. Are we fairly consistently moving that we put out then? We don't have much shrinkage?
We pretty much sell everything we put out. Yeah, we monitor that, so like at Mac, when they have when they get down to a certain number, they make more of whatever the item burger, whatever it is.
It's on whatever time of the day.
Right, looking at the T-sheet, factoring all the things in, so, just about everything we put in those warmers is go. So those warmers have been probably the best thing we've had. People, if someone walks up to the counter and says they want a burger, and okay, it'll be 5 minutes, they walk away, but if they can just grab it, they get it and go. So those worked out as well. Driving range comparison from last year, we're 22,000 up over last year. While we, of course, they continue to increase programming, which closes the driving range to the public a lot more. When they get their building built, that's going to help our numbers a lot. But still, even with that, Mac is up almost $10,000 over last year. Very happy with the driving range numbers. Merchandise sales almost dead, even $1,200 off. We've recouped most of the money at Auburn. We still have some merchandise left in there that we need to blow through. Michael's slowly bringing in his inventory, but with the way he started, makes no sense to try to fill that shop up right now. So he's gearing up. He's done a lot of pre-orders, got all his accounts open. So late winter, early spring, he'll start filling that place back up with his merchandise. So pretty excited to see what he does there. Total revenue, we hit 669, almost 670,000 in the month of September. That went through CPS. Last year it was 648, I think, going off memory. We beat it by 25,000. Year to date, we're at 5.3 million. Last year at this time, we were at 5.285. So we're $65,000 up over last year. Considering all the crap that happened earlier in the year, I'm pretty happy with that. For this month, for October, the weather's been absolutely perfect for 3 weeks now. We've definitely taken advantage of that. We're on track right now to beat last month, the entire month of October, on either the 18th or the 19th, depending on, as long as there's not any crazy weather. So we're going to have matched last year with 8 or 9 days left in the month. So really good October so far. We've pretty well wrapped up all of our tournaments. We have a couple of small things, but we had a really good tournament season, which is typically September, October. Everything went well. We pretty much re-signed, I think, just about every tournament we had for next year. And the revenue was really well from those tournaments. So that's a big part of that. Now, going to your question about the carts, the cart fund has actually went up about $55,000, $60,000 since the last meeting, and that's just a journal entry from every cart rental that comes in at $2 has been moved over. So even with us paying the cart, the lease payments and everything else, that continues to grow. And over the next 3 months, when we slow down, that'll see a little dip and then should go back up next summer. So that fund is going exactly like we hoped. We still have 190,000 in the general, just the overall project fund. The equipment fund, there's 115 that it shows in right now. That will go up as a journal, $3 in every green fee. Also, on the 1st of November, we will have the annual, we raised it to $55 equipment fee that we charge all members. So that'll get a big boost there as well. Clubhouse fund, 53,000, and grounds fund, there was a little bit on the cart path, a little bit of a change order that we had to do. It was about 15,000 that they just pushed through. That was at 69,000, I think, or something like that. So that's all completely paid for now. Altogether, in these funds combined is about 1.2 million. The general fund at the end of August had one right at 1.6, I think 1.6 and change million. I think after September that should increase by, I'm hoping about 150,000. We'll see when I get the financials, but we should be setting about 1.7, 1.75 in the general fund. Okay, as far as, let's sit back down, as far as, well, any questions about any of
I have none about finance, but I would like to make a general thing. We are changing weather. Could we put out a little blip about frost delays and or that kind of information that just kind of reconfirm where we are in terms of tee times due to frost delays, et cetera?
Yeah, we can do that. We're just having this discussion before you came in. Yet tomorrow we're probably going to have one. Yeah, we can. I'll work on something. Trevor wouldn't be here. He can't be here, so he'll be back tomorrow. So we'll work on getting something pushed out or an email, Facebook, everywhere we can.
Just start putting it up at Clubhouse and send it out over the net.
Yep.
And see whatever, just for informational purposes.
Yep, we can do that.
I don't even remember what the policy is now. I mean,
What do you mean on the frost delay?
yeah. Do you just pick up whenever the tee time, or do we push tee times back? What are we doing?
We try to push. I mean, if they're waiting around for an hour, we try to push them, get them out. I mean, it's just kind of the head, whoever's working the golf pro, whoever's in the pro shop does the best they can to get them moving. So, yeah.
There's something I might bring up sometime or another about that. Something that always rattled around my head. get into where you have actual a lot of frost delays, maybe taking a course or two and making shotgun starts there versus a couple of the other ones where you can get your staggered tee times. And just for the purposes of, you can only play from 10 to something, you know, you can play. If you got a course that's got a 10 o'clock shotgun, go play there. That's just throwing that out. I'm not proposing it or anything else. So.
If you can get everyone in the habit and understand they need to be there at 10 o'clock, ready to go, or whatever time.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they sign up for whichever course they want to play, I would think they would know that, but I don't know. It's just a way around it because I know frost delays have been a problem for ever since they started. So.
Everywhere, yeah. The only, we have to work with the staffing on that. That's almost like running a tournament every day, and we try to cut staff way back in the winter, so we'd have to figure out, make sure we're prepared to handle.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a decision we can talk about later on some other time. I've also had somebody ask me about whether or not we could do 1 and 10 tee times. So.
Can, you're gonna lose the tee times.
I know, I realize that.
2 hours away, but yeah, on the tour days you can, I mean, that way you can at least your 2 hours of time are getting full 18. So.
It's just things I'm throwing out.
Food and beverage made me think of it. It's the first time I noticed it in a while, just because I was out at Auburn Sunday afternoon. Is the cook position still open or anything on that?
No, it's still open. The end is kind of official title, but basically kitchen manager right now and in the crew. It's still open. We've got nothing on that.
Does the Tex kitchen have the same capabilities as the other courses yet?
Yeah, except for staffing. He has, I mean, we were there Saturday and he had no one to work Saturday after 1 o'clock in there. So he was pulling both. So we've got the equipment ready. We have to staff it. And I don't know why. It's just, it's so weird to me how certain courses get certain positions and not others, and it changes. I mean, it's so like Sim can't get maintenance, but they can get pro shop, no problem. And then it's different, every course has got their own. It's weird. I don't know, but yeah, staffing has been his main issue on the food and beverage side, but we've got it set up now after all the renovations, the counter and all that to do the same as Mac and Sim.
There'd ever be a way when you post those positions to make it just a city golf position and you go back to them with the option of different courses?
Oh. No.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense. But
I mean, because there's kids that would probably, people, whatever age, that would probably work at Auburn or Tex, just from the west side.
now
But they're going to apply for Auburn and then not get it, and then they're not going to go through that all again.
right. Now, once we get someone, we can, if they wanted to work a day at a different course, we just code their hours in different ways. So there's a way to kind of work around that, just up front. I have to advertise it under a board code basically, which is the location. One good news, the greenskeeper at Sim, which has been vacant for a year now, started today. So he went through orientation yesterday, started today. Excited to finally have that position filled and get some help for Darren. So that's a big move. Yeah. Any other questions on this?
If we're gonna go on doing into that, how did the mechanic, did we
We reopened that position.
it's another tough position to find.
Yes. We talked about it. I think it's gonna be tough to find someone at that pay that will take on 4 golf courses when it's less pay than everyone else gets 1 golf course. So that's a lot to ask.
What's the average golf course mechanic making these?
You don't want to know.
Yeah,
What is?
Almost more than the superintendent.
Yeah, it's 90 to 100 around here.
It's nuts. What is the condition of our equipment? Is it deteriorating? It's not getting serviced correctly?
I mean, we've purchased a lot of new equipment, so it's, I mean, I don't think it's not getting service, it's that the new equipment's okay still, but we're using a mixed lot of equipment. We've got some equipment that's extremely old that should have been retired years ago that we constantly need someone to work on. And we don't have it. So of course, something breaks down, we have to send it off, we have to pay them to come get it, we have to wait for them to come get it, they take it, set somewhere for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, then they bring it back, we're paying for all that, and we don't have the equipment, so. Yeah, so,
You said you reposted the position, so is the thought to still try to hire someone yet this year, or what's?
yeah, as soon as we have to post it for a certain amount of time, so when it closes, we'll see what the applicants are, go from there, yeah, as soon as we get the right person.
Because wouldn't the winter time be the ideal time to have somebody working on your?
Oh, yeah, I want them.
Maybe not using it as much.
I was hoping to have someone 2 weeks ago, but we're reopening it. So yeah, I want to get that filled as soon as we can and get the person working on the equipment. Absolutely.
When we have openings like that, I know we post them on the City of Wichita HR page because I happened to go there yesterday for a reason I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
But is that the only place they are? Do we also use some of the job sites
Yeah,
and all that
we
kind of
use-
stuff?
I mean, depending on the position, we use Indeed and all the job sites, and then for like a mechanic, we use the GCA.
CCSA
SAP.
website.
So that's golf course superintendent. We'll go through PGA. We'll go through, depending on what the position is, try to get some of the specialized groups for that position. And it's typically, I mean, just being honest, it's typically the pay that
Sure.
people reach out interested, and then we get to the pay and we think about it, and that's it. That's the last.
I had a guy call me yesterday out of the blue. I really don't know how he got my number. Are our phone numbers on the website? Oh, that's interesting. This guy calls me out of the blue, says I wanted to apply for at one of the outdoor positions at Sim and I don't know how. And so I didn't know how either, but I figured it out. I just took him to the HR site and saw that saw the listing there. And I was also intrigued by the same thing you asked, that they're specific to course, and I don't really quite grasp that. I mean, it seems like it would be great to have a fluid workforce.
It's the way HR is set up. I'm not gonna beat that, I'll tell you. I'm not gonna be able to change that, but you have to code that person to a certain place. So they have to have their home base, and that's how it has to be listed.
Yet we can have a roving mechanic.
It was not easy, I can tell you. Yeah, and that's a specialized, it's a different than just someone that's working at a golf course, so.
So that's why I was asking. I mean, this guy, maybe he's not the brightest bulb, I don't know, but he couldn't figure out how to apply for a job.
You can go to just Golf Wichita and go to careers, I think is what it is. And go through that. You can go to the website, and then we try to, like I said, we try to post it on all the job sites that we can. Indeed, LinkedIn, the special PGA, GCSAA, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Maybe drop past the superintendent's office.
Well, he actually had talked to somebody on the grounds crew out there. I don't know, maybe that's how he got my number. I don't know. Although I don't think the grounds crew has my cell phone.
I don't know why I would have told him to call you.
Never, for a good time call. Sorry. So, but yeah, I did tell him just to stop by if nothing else, and that one of the inside people couldn't help him. So anyway, I think I took care of it.
Okay, good.
I was just surprised that somebody couldn't figure out how to apply for a job when we need people so badly. But if it's all those places, then it must be the source, not the.
The hardest part, I think, is when you look for a job, it's listed, sometimes it's listed as, once you get to the HR side, as the job title, not the working title. So within the city, it would say worker two, instead of golf course.
That's right. It said worker
Worker one.
two or something like that, Sim. But Yeah.
And so on the Golf Wichita site, it'll say what we want it to say, golf course. And once you click on it, it takes you to the city webpage where you apply, and it would say worker two. And a lot of people, they think it went somewhere else.
That's good to know, just in
Yeah.
case anybody
Yeah.
else calls one of us.
So that worker two position exists in golf, it exists in 5 other divisions, you know,
Sure.
public work, I don't know where all, but that makes it hard to share that same classification with other divisions.
Can you parenthesize the worker two along with the real name that we have on our website so that when they go to the HR site that you could kind of translate it?
If they read past the worker two title really big, the description will be more specific to golf, so they would realize it's the same job.
That's what we
Yeah, I'm saying from coming from the other side though, from our website where it has the real name, could we also parenthesize worker two there?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, probably do that kind of reverse. Yeah,
That way, when they
Yeah.
get to the HR site, they'll already know that that's what they're looking at.
you could do that. I've been looking at it from the other way, so yeah, good.
In regards to your earlier question, the superintendents all do a lot of maintenance on the equipment as it is. I mean, you buy them a new piece of equipment, they're just not gonna drive it and not think about it. They're changing the oil, they're lubricating it, they're putting air filters, they're sharpening reels, they're doing all these things. What we need, when we're talking about this mechanic, is he's gonna do some of that, obviously, if he's got some time, but if you got a golf cart broke down, he's gonna put bearings or brakes on if you need it. I mean, if you got something that the hydraulic cylinders or you don't know where the leak is, he's gonna find that for you. Stuff that we don't really have the equipment and or manpower to be able to check and diagnose those problems, so that some of the older equipment they were talking about that we may park on the fence or send out to be fixed will be fixed in-house if we can get to that point. I mean, obviously we gotta get there, so. But no, these guys are taking care of equipment because they know they gotta have it, so.
Yeah, we like it or not.
There's a lot of time that you pull out some of that older equipment and stuff we don't use every day. So when you need it, you're doing a project, you get it out and something don't work. And now your whole plan is out the window. So, just last 2 weeks ago, when he was trying to aerify the top dresser, the belt on the top dresser quit working. So we had to borrow that equipment, which put him hours behind and a lot of extra headache. So.
Well, we get kind of discussing going into the new business, but we will officially go there. Yep.
There's no power. Just got, for the new business, I just want to get a couple of course updates, starting with Auburn Hills, which Dalton's here with us to kind of talk about his plans and what he sees over the next few months. And then Ron is online to talk about McDonald.
Just want to, first of all, just say thank you guys for everything, and really just thank you for your guys' patience. This year for me has been a learning curve and a stepping stone. So just really a building year for me, just to get my feet wet and whatnot. So we have a bunch of projects that we're going to attempt to do. I know the public has been complaining about all of our Bermuda winter kill and stuff like that. So I have a couple game plans to do with that. Unfortunately, we were too late in the season to do any of the zoysia sod. So I think for us, our best bet is going to try to get some cool season grass established in those spots first with some rice seed and try to get those areas established. And then we'll kind of go from there. But really our main projects are going to be that, and then cleaning up our native and everything. The biggest thing that I'm just going to speak for me personally. I'm not going to speak for all the other courses, but just trying to figure out what is the next biggest fish on the frying pan that needs to be fried. So that's truly been the hard part for me, is just trying to tackle things as soon as they come across my plate. So, but we're going to do a lot of native cutting down, and we're going to try to get some bunkers filled in this year. For instance, like on the backside of 17 green, that one. Me and Jesse have discussed the front left green side bunker on number 5. We're going to take a little bit out of that. But to be quite honest, there's just a lot of stuff integrally at the golf course that needs to be fixed. From the example of a lot of heads need to be raised. Shoot, I had 4 or 5 valves that do not work. For instance, last week I had a stuck head on hole number 3, and none of the valves over on hole number 3 worked. So in order to get that down, I had to shut off the pump station. So that is a big inconvenience, and whenever you're moving hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, you're asking for blowouts and other things to go wrong and bad. So, but there's a lot of projects like that that I'm not going to say that won't increase playability, but most golfers are not going to see that just make my life a whole heck of a lot harder. So, but yeah, my biggest thing this winter is going to be getting all the native and everything cut down for all the HOAs, and start tackling some of these winter kill spots. With us out of Auburn, we really, I'm trying my darndest to get a bigger crew out there, but with 185 acres of irrigated turf and 2 full-time employees, that is a doozy of a task. So I'm trying to get more people in there as soon as I can and as fast as I can. But with that, it's in the wintertime. That's when we're doing all of our oil changes and reel sharpenings and stuff like that too. So that 2-person crew goes down to 1 very, very quickly in order to get everything done that needs to get done. So my game plan is for these spots in the fairways. We're going to try to do the rice seed first and incorporate it that way. And then I have a couple other ideas with maybe hex plug-in some spots and seeing if the zoysia will creep that way. And then obviously everyone knows that anyone can lay down sod, but it's just the point of finding the sod where we're going to pull it from and having the labor to do that. So I don't want to say worst case scenario, but I would say last case scenario, we're going to do the sod. So I'm just going to try some other avenues first to see if we can get a better feel for what's going to work and what isn't going to work, and then we will move swiftly from there. So
would you, hypothetically, if you were gonna take some zoysia sod, would you take like the first 10 yards out of a fairway and then put that down, pesky back in there and take that sod somewhere else? Or?
I mean, yeah, but when you get back to the end all be all of it with the labor and everything, that is handling stuff 2 to 3 times. So when you don't have the luxury of having 20 people inside, I mean, you know, it's just one of those things that there's a couple areas, honestly, I think if we were to steal from anywhere, it'd probably be at the front of 17 first, just because I would say the first quarter of that fairway doesn't get touched ever by anyone. I'm talking golfers, golf balls, you name it. So, but with that, it's the labor of cutting that sod, moving it to somewhere else, and then getting sod from somewhere else and moving it to that spot. So it's just a lot of handling the material 2-3 times, and everyone knows time is money. So just trying to figure out the best way to do that with the resources and everything I have available to me. So.
I know you run the tests on the soil and they came back that it was pretty good, supposedly, I guess, which it surprised me, didn't know in the beginning.
Yeah, it surprised me too. I thought there was going to be a lot more contaminants in it. I thought there was going to be a lot of heavy metals and stuff like that in it, but it was not. So that was what I was worried, was the heavy metals and toxins in the soil.
Got dug up out and got put out there.
Yeah, but from what the soil report said that the soil is good and it can quote unquote grow grass there. So I honestly think it's a compaction issue and a lot of other things. So I have a couple cards up my sleeve that I'm going to try to see if we can just get some grass grown there and established and go from there. So
I'm just curious, if you go ahead and try ryegrass, gets it cleaned up for the winter time.
yes, sir.
But if the ryegrass fails, then there may be some kind of a soil problem there, whether it shows in the test or not, whether it might entertain an idea, just taking a backhoe and taking some of that out there and actually putting some decent soil back in there and see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of things. There's honestly, I've had really, really good success with it's a starter fertilizer. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but it's Earthworks. It's either 333 or 822. I've had really good success with that on just bare ground and putting that down and then putting seed on top of it. It basically is a how's the best way to explain this? Basically, it evens out the soil. So if you're really high in phosphorus or magnesium or whatnot, it just kind of pushes everything even. So
Someone else take some profile and put it out there and grind it in and see what that does.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was just, I mean, just thinking down the road,
Yep.
if the ryegrass fails, and not that we want, I mean, next summer, we're obviously want to put zoysia back in it anyway. You're not-
Yeah, well, and you know, Mike, the rye is gonna smoke anyways, so it ain't ever gonna last. So, honestly, what my initial thought on it is to get the rye established and then the zoysia will choke out the rye.
You strip it in there, you might, I mean, isn't, some of those large spots, you're not gonna choke it out in a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta,
Yeah, those zoysia.
something's gotta be done that more than just throwing some rye in there, so. All right,
Do you have to do something to like knock down the weeds and stuff before you put the rye in, or you just kind of put the rye in and choke out the weeds?
All the weeds that are out on any of the public courses or around the city are going to be dead tomorrow morning.
Freeze.
Frost.
Even that
You're-
sticky weed at Sim, I don't know
You're-
what it's really called, but we call it sticky weed.
Your best herbicide application is frost.
It's gonna kill that stuff.
now don't
Yeah,
get
we keep it.
I mean, don't hold me to it. I mean, yeah. Yes, that.
Middle of the fairway.
But yes, that is the best herbicide out there is frost. So
let's look at that SIM different perspective. And it's that once we put the irrigation system in there and we have something that actually works, there are chemicals that we will take all that out with and go from there. And we will start with, hopefully with a bare area, either sprigging or doing something to alleviate that mess. But that's based on some irrigation system that works. To be candid, and I don't, you know, from his perspective, I'm speaking out of turn for Darren. Is that he would rather have something green out there to look at than all the bare areas, because we weren't really trying to be candid, because we knew what was coming down the road in terms of tearing it up.
Totally get it,
So,
until I'm in it, then I don't.
but I know it's hard to play out of, so. But I did. Jesse and I were out the other day looking for irrigation purposes, but I mean, there was a lot of Bermuda grass that came back on Sim Park this summer, so.
That's true.
And we got off of your place, and I apologize for that.
please follow me. As long as I don't have the guns pointing at me, I'm okay.
Any other questions for Dalton?
And I'll add to what you, a lot of what you guys don't see. He gets and I get so many emails and stuff from city council, from everybody, from homeowners. He has to react to that pretty quickly when that happens. So we may have a million plans on the course. But I was something to city council, it comes down, he's got to drop what he's doing and go handle that.
Like what? Like there's Craig.
This area's grown up, there's
weed eating 135th Street, pulling weeds 5 feet from a homeowner. I mean, anything that you can possibly think of, it comes down the line.
Grass has gotten too tall now. Animals are starting to come up close to my house, and we get that a lot.
I noticed you guys knocked down the right side of 9, all that along there is all knocked down.
We were, yeah, that's exactly what Jack just has been talking about. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would say that's once a week, probably.
Uh,
So you probably get it more than I do. Once a week, guys.
yeah. Mhm.
And whatever the request is, a several hour ordeal. So,
At least. So.
Is that the request to knock down 9 a fall request, or because it was never designed to have that all knocked down from the course clear to the homeowner?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's there for a reason. It's meant to be a buffer, so people aren't, because we're in a drought, everyone knows that. So technically, those 2 ponds over on 9, when we're wet, those 2 will connect. So it's actually meant to be a buffer for the golfers to not go over there. I heard there's obnoxious weeds everywhere, a fire hazard, and I mean, you name it, the list goes on. So it's one of those trying to put out fires whenever I can. So, and still try to maintain the golf course. So.
Homeowners are just a jolly good deal. But that's how we got the golf course, so we'll leave it at that.
yeah.
Andy, can't you wrangle those guys into shape?
Hey, I don't say nothing about them behind my, I do kind of mow it myself a little bit up there, but
Well, that's another thing, is most people don't understand, is there's actually technically 2 HOAs out of Auburn. There's one for the front 9 and one for the back 9. So that just makes double my problems. So.
2 of them.
Yep.
Hanging up on you.
All right, thank you, Dalton, I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate all the hard.
Thank you.
work.
Yeah,
But
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other, you got Ron there? Thanks, Dalton.
So
thank you.
good to move on to Ron, if you're there, we'll do the same.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, McDonald, we've, this fall, we've completely overseeded all the rough with ryegrass. Started in yesterday, going back in and touching up some spots that didn't come in as good. Got 2 holes to finish up doing that tomorrow. And then got some rough areas that are going to seed in with fescue. While doing this, done some contouring in some areas on the fairways where the Bermuda never did really do good because of shade. So done some contours to reshape some fairways. But those areas are changing to fescue. It'll be rough now. Some of the holes we've moved the start of the fairway up a few years ago. During the COVID years, we were shut down. Mowed out some red tee boxes further out that were only about 10 yards from the start of the fairway. So we've moved the start of fairway out on 4 holes to just reduce some fairway acreage to maintain. With that, had the tee boxes overseeded first part of September. Those came in really well. And like I say, the rye and the fairways, we've completely overseeded. So in spring, it'll look like ryegrass fairways. I mean, it's already looking that way now. So, which it'll be good. Hopefully we don't have a bunch of winter killing the Bermuda, but if we do, we've got ryegrass in there already. So we're ahead of the game. Get this finished up. Kind of the next project we got going on is using the brush hog mower to mow down what we call the native or no-mow areas, clean those up and spray those. Then also along the creek banks and the pond perimeters, do the same thing. As far as going into fall and winter stuff, about 2 months ago, one of the tree inspectors from forestry came out. We've got a lot of dead trees. We've got a list of he went around with me. We've got a list of 85 dead trees to be removed. We've already in the last couple of weeks had a couple good size. I have one dead cottonwood tree that's out in a area completely away from play along out of bounds, but it fell, but it's in a spot that's not in any harm to anyone. Got a couple larger trees that have lost some good sized limbs, so we just need to get those cut up and moved off the course. Over the winter, also hopefully have time to start doing. We have a plan for that would Jesse and I, we contacted a architect. We have a plan for a sand trap rebuild and removal. Part of the original plan he drew up was that the contractor would do all the fill in of some, but we're going to go ahead and start doing some of those this winter to where hopefully next year we can do that bunker plan, and it will cut down on the expense of contracted out with having some of them already filled in house. Here pretty soon, I told Jesse, as soon as the sim irrigation gets all ironed out and gets moving, I've already been doing a lot of research and writing notes of, I want to go ahead and get the planning already started on the McDonald project. It's funded for next year. Hopefully would be starting like next November, December. So I'd like to have all that done by spring, and so we know where we're at going into the fall. And I know the sim situation is a little different because we didn't know if we had the funding until August. So, but now we know we've got a year ahead. So want to get all that planned out so we can get the best bang for the buck and the product what we need to because it's going to be a major investment in the course that's going to be there for another the next 20 to 30 years. So when Mike's out there finally playing from the silver tees out in the fairway, he'll in 20 years he'll still be able to appreciate that. So I might be there with you though.
Thanks a lot, big boy.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron, when he came out and looked at those trees, were there not any concerns of safety issues of putting a priority on any of those dead trees?
He looked at those and he understands. He kind of gave me some pointers what to look for if they're like, especially on the locust trees, what to look for if they're in a serious what to look for condition wise if they would be getting close to maybe falling as far as but he didn't see anything that was at this point. But I mean, we've got it, even a lot of trees that aren't getting taken out, we've got trees that have dead wood up in them that need some work. So it's with that many trees, as far as I'm concerned, 85 removal is just a good start. Personally, we removed about 1,000 or 1,500 trees on that golf course. It'd be a lot easier to grow grass. So.
That's true, as long as you don't take the 1 on 5.
For the record, I want this on a recording. We are not removing 1,500 trees.
Oh, you're talking about the Eisenhower tree?
Yeah, the one down on number 5.
Yeah, the big cottonwood.
Yep.
Yep. I tell people that when that was still Wichita Country Club, Dwight Eisenhower was there playing with someone and they were planting that tree that day. And he said, I don't think I'm going to like that tree being there. And there's one other golf course somewhere. I can't remember where it's at, but I don't like that tree either. So that's the
good
story. That's the story I get to tell. But I thought about making a little sign and putting there with that story on it. Most people would believe it. So.
Another question in regards to the seating. I know we're still in a stage 2. How much of impact are we having regarding the maturation of your rides coming out with the lack of water that we're able to do?
Well, we're not golf courses aren't part of that deal. So unfortunately purchased about, I have to grab a calculator, 860 times $8.36 last Thursday. Going to be doing that probably again tomorrow or Thursday. So no, we're keeping it watered. Emptied out the pond on 18. Luckily, a couple of years ago we had those ponds redid. So the pond on 18, there's about 2 million gallons of water we were able to use out of it before we had to start purchasing city water. So I know it's going to be expensive, but it's a expense now for long-term gain next year. So
Well, speaking in regards to somewhat fall under mandates to make the public aware that we also try as hard as possible in regards to actually using water.
oh yeah,
For that
Yeah.
golf course to be where we would want it, we would need to double or triple the water usage. We're not doing that because of circumstances.
Does this frost alert that we have for tonight, does that affect new seed that you're trying to?
No,
nope, that won't have a effect whatsoever with it.
it will. I've got the Bermuda, so you won't see much left.
Yeah, the Bermuda will definitely start going dormant tomorrow.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Ron while he's here?
Enough some smoke signals, Ron, get that rain to going.
What was that again, Robert?
We need more rain.
Yeah, some rain would be good. Yeah, right after we got the fairways seeded, there was a chance of rain, and man, got everything done on Friday. It rained on the weekend, but the bad thing was it rained 2.5 inches all in one day. So we had a little bit of washout, not bad. So those are the areas I'm going back and touching up, getting more seed in there. So those will fill in, and would have been nice to get like a 1/2 inch every 3 or 4 days for 2 weeks to get that 2.5, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. So
Early work session.
yep, some rain would be nice. They're talking maybe first of the week a chance or something. So getting as much seed in the ground we can before the next chance of rain.
Hopefully this weekend.
Yep.
That I want to sacrifice any rounds, but. All right, thank you. Appreciate all your good work.
All right. Appreciate all you guys do for us. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, continuation of prior business
Is
here.
that all the course updates we're gonna do, or are we gonna talk about?
For today, Darren couldn't be here, and then I'll update you with text. I couldn't be happier with that golf course right now. Every part of it is great right now. We had the United Way tournament this past Saturday. I didn't play, but I was out there. Jesse Ramos played in it, and I mean, we had 96 people, and I think 92 came in and said this place is awesome right now. So yeah, it's great out there. Sam, we talked about
What about the
that.
trees at Sim? I was noticing when he was talking about trees, when I played today, I continue to be amazed by how many dead trees there are at Sim as well. Have they inspected that one? Do we know?
I don't think he's came out. We have tickets in for, but I can't remember the number. Their forestry is like 2,500 or 3,000 tickets behind or something like that because they're so short staffed and there's so much work to do. So we're on the books, 35, whatever, but yeah.
I mean, I would be concerned about some of those at Sim being a safety hazard.
I was gonna say, what is our liability for a tree falling on somebody?
You question.
Anymore,
I mean-
anymore, if I hit over on into trees, I'm looking up, making sure that they're not gonna be falling on me. I mean, there are a lot of them that are bad.
Yeah, and I understand. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, so it just kind of depends. I mean, we are sort of maybe responsible for maintaining the courses and everything. I don't want to say anything that suggests liability for the city. And there's things we would say depending on what happened. Like like we're doing our best to get rid of the trees. There is some understanding that when you're doing something outside on a recreational sort of like place, that things like that could conceivably happen. So I don't, like, we have the responsibility to maintain our parks, but I'm not sure there's necessarily liability attached with that. There's also the issue of, like, under state law, when we are providing recreational opportunities, the city is generally exempt from liability when it's related to that recreational activity. So that's probably what would apply in that situation. But, you know, if we know, the more we know, the more potential liability there is, or more of a claim that someone could try to make.
Aside from just the financial liability, we don't want anyone to get.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have led with that.
I am surprised that when they did MAC, they didn't find some safety concerns. I figured they would say we need to prioritize a few of these. I mean, our other option is to contract that out. I don't know if you've ever priced that. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's an insane amount of money. There's certain things we could do in-house. I mean, we're not barbarists, so we could do certain things over the winter, but that's kind of our options. Do what we can do in-house, spend boatloads of money, or try to just work with forestry best we can, best they can.
You can take it, I mean, in-house, you can take out 15, 20 foot trees. The pines you can knock those down, and some of the other smaller ones, but you get into the big cottonwoods and the elms that we have dead, I wouldn't want anybody in our crew
No.
trying to knock them down.
There's a huge one on the right side of 18, right up to the T-box.
There's about 3 or 4 of them. On either side, it wouldn't make any difference. Yeah, I'm in total agreement, but it's, just like you said, they've cut forestry down to the bare bones. I mean, they used to have like 4 complete crews running around all the time doing that, but now it seems like that's one of the areas that everybody wants to cut.
Marcia, I'll address your email. So I full blame on me. I've attempted to do that 3 or 4 times with Darren, and one time it rained, 2 times I got called off. He was doing irrigation one day. And I thought that thing went into the ground. So I did the survey where they came and made sure there were no utilities or anything under the ground. And now I realize it doesn't. So I wasted time waiting on that to come back. I'm talking about the heating bays at Sim. I talked to Darren today. Actually, it was kind of funny because I got your email, and then he called and he said, my greenskeeper started. Seems like it's going to be great. And I'm like, good, you're free to do cages now. His response was, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Just tell me when. So,
The guy needs a vacation.
yeah. It's just a matter of, you ever put a net on a basketball goal? That's frustrating. We got to do 300 feet of net of a basketball goal net. So it's more just getting out there and getting it done. And I apologize for not getting it done to
The
this.
gals just think I'm too much ago.
Well, they asked me, I'm gonna say I have no idea what she's talking about.
Thank you for.
We will get it, I promise.
Irrigation plans, we are.
Yeah, just wanted to give an update on where we stand on that. The RFP is out for SIM. It's a request for proposal. It's a design build. So basically the RFP that we put out is for the design of the irrigation system and the build, do the work. It closes on the 25th. I have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock if you're interested in showing up, for any of you. That gives anyone interested in putting a proposal in a chance to come out, ask any questions they have, get details about not only the course of the project, but the payment side and all the purchasing side of it as well. So we'll see who shows up tomorrow. I know he's going to have 2 show up tomorrow. I think we may have a few more. And then when that closes on the 25th, it's basically like a job interview at that point. It's a proposal, not a bid. So we'll set up interviews where they'll come in and they'll lay out their proposal. We'll put a panel together, go over several factors we want to look at: timing, cost, obviously, the design, whether we like what they are proposing, their experience, their, all the different factors that go into this project. So when we get a little closer, probably,
That's tomorrow, right?
the pre-bid meeting is tomorrow. I'm talking about once it closes and we receive the proposals, then we'll call them in, basically set up interviews for them to come in and talk through our panel about we can ask questions about their proposals. So once that closes on the 25th, I'm gonna guess we could do that the following week, around the end of the month. So I'll get with anyone that wants to be on a part of that panel. Obviously, you guys are gonna be the superintendents, one for purchasing will be in there, so we'll put together that panel with anyone that's interested.
Well,
Oh,
is that the actual bid for the work? When does that come in?
I'm talking about, yeah, they have to have the proposals in on the 25th. That's the deadline.
Well, isn't that the individuals that we're seeing? That's Toro or Rainbird or?
It's a design build. It could be the contractors that actually do the work, that work with partner with a irrigation architect. And they come with
Okay,
it.
so
It could be, it's,
the RFP is actually asking the supplier of the equipment to also supply the installer.
a whole project. Yep, the design and the build, everything
Never
involved.
heard of that one going.
It is not the norm, but it's, we can't really do it the other way. The way our purchasing works, this is kind of a weird project that works different in the private golf world versus the
Yeah,
public golf world. So I've talked to a few of the vendors and they said they have done this type of deal several times with municipalities.
well, even in the old days, we hired our own architects and the architect provided the,
Independent architects right now are about 2 years out and they're about $100,000. So we're trying to not wait 2 years. And so we'll see we've talked to a couple of companies that said they could get plan drawn up and that route. I think if we come back with some proposals, I think the biggest challenge is going to be finding the crews that are available this quick to get started. I mean, obviously, we would like to start November, December, have it done by March.
I did do a little quick research and they can put a head out at 90 feet. Actually, they can put them out to around 115 feet, depending on how you nozzle them.
That's a lot of pressure.
Well, they're still running at 80 to 100, which is what we're running now. Same thing. But we've gained that extra footage that we marked off the other day when we were looking at it to make sure that we caught. That's a better overthrow than we even thought we were getting.
So kind of what we were looking at, fairway, let's say each fairway is almost 30 yards wide, almost exactly the same all the way across the course. We do it, there's a 2-row system where you have sprinkler heads down both sides of the fairway, just 2 rows down each side of the fairway. You do a 3-row system where you have 3, but that's a lot. You're looking at several $100,000 more for that. So if we do the 2-row, what Mike and I were doing, we were measuring to make sure with the throw of 80 to 90 feet is what we're looking at. We cover all the fairway, obviously, because you got both coming in. That's 90 feet across. So both would cover toward the middle of the fairway, we were also looking to see how far out in the rough are we going to get with those 2 heads. And, the farther the better. Now, if it says it's a 90-foot head and we have 40-mile-an-hour winds, it's not going 90 feet. So trying to figure out what's our best coverage and the best way to lay this out while staying within budget. That's kind of what he said. We're researching kind of the different type of heads and how far the throw is and all that. So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different ways to do this. Way over my head, way over our superintendent's head. They're not architects. They can run it. They don't build it. So putting this proposal, this RFP together was very challenging. This purchasing said, give me all the specs that you want. You don't know. That's not what we do. So we tried to leave it pretty general. We'll focus more on the work. We want more than 1 hole a day closed. We want, kind of how we want the project to go, but we're going to rely on them to come back with proposals on how they're going to lay it out.
You just gotta set that base parameter, so when you decide to put a head in there, if you nozzle it up, that you put a pipe big enough in there to allow you to do it. And whomever is gonna design it has to figure the friction losses and the pressures and what have you, in order to ensure that the thing is working properly and we're getting what we want. Now, that said, if the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour, Harry Houdini can't design a system for that. I don't care who you are. It's virtually impossible. But if you set it up at 90, 30 yards across, and you set that head at 90, you're gonna get head to head. Now, they put a head out that's actually a 2-speeder, so you put it like that, the head comes around, it goes real slow this way, and then picks up speed the other way, because there you're doubling it up. You follow what I'm saying? So that way you get more water, possibly out in the rough
I
area.
was gonna say it's slow in the rough and fast in the
No,
fairway.
no, you're backward. It's slow in the fairway and fast in the fairway and slower in the rough, because
Yeah, you said it. Same thing. You just reversed it.
you had to reverse it all. You want the faster speed in here because you got 2 heads running the same place. Whereas when you get out into the rough, you slow it down so you get more water out there, which we don't get now, which is why you see it all burned out, which is the reason we were trying to increase it without increasing the number of heads, because.
You have to have a certain percentage of overlap, don't you?
Right.
Uh,
And when I say that, in theory, if you're at 90, you get a 90-foot head at a 90-foot spacing. In perfect conditions, it's overlapping itself, which never happens, but which is why sometimes if you're asking for 90, they set it at 85 or something.
For every sprinkler head that we add is between $2,200 and $2,600. So for every 10 heads, you're looking at an additional $25,000 to $30,000. It adds up very fast.
What's well, we don't know what the total price is gonna be yet, or
No.
we were estimating 1.5.
We got an estimate just so we would know what the funding, and that's about where it came back. Now it could, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
How many heads are along a par 4?
Do we?
How many heads you usually run around?
They're 90, well, whatever it is, depending on what it is, you're 30 yards, you go, what it is, just divide it by 30 yards.
There's about 800 heads at Sim.
10 per head, per fairway, basically.
300.
Got greens, I mean,
Yeah.
probably
Green heads are anywhere from 4 to 5, depending on the size.
10 to 14 per fairway, I think, depending on the length of the hole. I'm doing that in my head. I think that's pretty close. I think 5 to 7 is a 2.
Probably when we look at it, there'll be some areas that we may take away some irrigation, like some gap between the tee box and where the next fairway is, so that we can spread it this way versus this way. And if you take 30 yards off and put another couple of heads over here in the rough, where now you got 2 holes that actually are intersecting themselves with the irrigation head, you get that much more playability out of it. You always try to assume that the first 30 yards off the tee, they can hit it that far, so. No matter what we do, it's expensive. All right, any other questions regarding that specific plan? And that's at 10 o'clock tomorrow
10 o'clock at Sim.
at Sim? Okay.
What's the estimate on the sand trap that you're planning on working?
Way the architect drew it up at Mac, it was around 320,000. Now there was a lot of opportunity we can get the material ourselves and use some contracts that the city has to get some of that material and cut costs there. We could do a lot of the pre-work ourselves and cut costs. So I think 150, 200,000, we could we could come real close to doing what he drew up. That was him walking it, us just saying, here's your golf course, and him doing everything start to finish.
We all will agree that the bunkers at McDonald Park are, probably the worst there are in the state. I don't know.
I want to eliminate half of them. There's 69, I would like to drop down to 35. Got several that, a bunker, and then the green. So from a pace of play standpoint, you hit in the bunker, you chunk it in the next one. Now you're scared and you blade it 50 yards over the green. Well, somebody's waiting on them people to do all that. Yeah. You know. Been there. Done that.
Number 1, 3, and
18, yeah.
so, all right, yeah. I mean, it's, bunkers are like the most expensive thing on a golf course outside of your labor. Yeah, it just takes so much money to maintain bunkers.
So educate me a little bit about what happens to them, because probably 4 years ago, maybe, Sue had the best bunkers in town. That great sand in them, there's plenty of, it's all good. What happens to make bunkers go bad?
They go bad because of irrigation and rain. The old concept, and this has always been a poor concept, is that if you look at the older golf courses, not many of the newer ones are this way, but get around these complexes, and what they did was drain into the bunkers and use the bunker drains to eradicate the water off the golf. What happens when you drain into a bunker? Still contain, all this stuff starts coming in. So pretty soon, rather than sand, you start to make concrete, because all these real fine particles start adhering to the sand particles, and everything starts tightening up more and more. So the tighter it gets, the poorer it drains, and it's just compounds the problem. So what happens, you got to go in there and take all the sand out and clean out your drain, and then you're back where you start. Well, at Reflection Ridge, we basically did a redone bunkers every 5 years, only because of that. And they're built the same way, everything right in the bunker. So Sims that way, every place is basically that way. The newer ones, you'll see they change. There'll be a little up slope around the lip so that the water gets channeled away from there. So
Thank you.
that's the reason for it, unfortunately. And we have all these, basically older courses. So you like to think Auburn's new, but you think back and it's
Really not.
25 years old or 30, whatever it is. So, all right. Member rates. I know we've had some suggestion boxes and out.
I know Randy's done a lot of work on this, so he's got something we're gonna pull up, and I'll let you kind of lead us off, and then we'll see where it goes. Do the comparison. What it's called, yeah. And I also gave everybody a copy to see how to get better.
Yeah, I just went online because I think Marcia had said something at the last meeting about before we raise the rates or do this or that. Let's look at what the other courses around us are doing and where they're at, so that we can make sure that we are still competitive. And so, I mean, you can read it for yourself. A lot of it isn't actually apples to apples, because some of them include range balls and cards. Some don't. So it's kind of hard to make an exact comparison on some of them. But this is just what I could, gather off of the internet about the pricing at the other courses. And then price at our course, actually the 1,500 you see, that was taking the new number that we had. I think we decided we were gonna go like $6 and some change to make it an even number. And I think like the adult pass, it made it 125 right on the button. So
added the black numbers at the bottom. I just added the current prices, so you can see, yeah.
So that's why there's a difference there. But You know, from what I could tell, I think we're still pretty competitive, and the fact that we have 4 courses, I think is a big bonus for us as well. The only other thing that I have to add is I stopped by at Auburn Hills on Wednesday mornings. They have a senior league that plays on Wednesday mornings. And so I stopped by there, and this was a couple of weeks ago, and I think Jesse was actually there that morning too. But I stopped by there just to ask some guys. So I stood up by the counter and I just asked them, I said, if you had your preference of not raising the fee and making your pass a 5-day pass, or raising your fee and keeping it a 7-day pass, which would you prefer? And I think I asked somewhere between 25 and 30 guys, so I didn't get the full gamut of everybody, but just from the guys that I did ask, 65 to 70% of them said that they would rather have a 5-day pass at the present rate than increase the fee and go to 7-day pass. And they each had their own reasons, whether they were on a budget or they don't play much on the weekends. They try to let the working class have the weekends, or there were several different, thought trains on that. And I kind of understood, all of them had a little bit different something to say, but I was surprised. I thought I was going to get more, go ahead and raise it and keep it 7-day or whatever. But the majority, more than the majority actually, was go to a 5-day. 5 days is great. We love 5-day. So I don't know. I would love to get some more data from some of the other courses and some other people. And if we can, I don't know if they have senior leagues at some of the other places that we could go and just kind of, get some more information.
If we're gonna do that, I think before it gets cold, then we're not gonna see people, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're having to do this by March, is that right?
It's going into effect March 1st, yep. Yeah, and also Randy asked me to put this together, so I ran reports for every weekend, and senior play on the weekend, all 4 courses combined was about 25%. It's about 50-50 member versus green fee play. 5% of member or 25% total? 25%.
25 total.
25% of total play is senior Saturday and Sunday.
Senior?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's excluding all these other passes.
So
What's the percentage?
you look at 1,600 tee times on the weekend, 800 are green fee, and about 400 are senior.
Darius, do you have that other spreadsheet that we were looking at last week, and we were kind of changing the numbers on there?
Basically,
100.
all the other passes.
Say different things.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, that one. So the thing that sticks in, if you can go back to the other one. The thing that stuck in my mind was that yellow number on top, that $14.83 for a prime time on the weekend. To me, that sticks out as, we can't afford to do that. That's just, everybody else is getting, 30, 40 bucks on the weekend. Our other passes are all right around 20, which is better. It's better. And after we raise the rates, it's 22, 25, 20, and then either 16 or 14, depending on if we go to a 5-day or not.
How do you calculate those, when you say the seniors cost per round? Is that all 7 days of the week?
It's the number of rounds played divided by the total fees that is paid by those
It's
members.
all 7 days.
So you have 830 some seniors, they pay so much per month, whatever their annual is, but turns out to be 707,540, whatever. And then you divide that by the rounds.
Say, if you looked at just the weekend rounds for seniors, it's not much at 16, probably, if you took them. Just if you did took just weekend rounds, what they pay per round, it doesn't go up that much.
I don't know. I definitely think we need to gather more information, but in my mind, I think we should seriously consider making the senior a 5-day. And then they still have the option. I mean, and that's what a couple of other guys told me. They said, I'll just get the adult pass. They said, I don't care, you know.
And you make it 5 days if they decided they want to play it the weekend, charge another $10 per round. Give them that choice.
I think they
Is
would
that
just,
possible, Jess?
It
I feel
is.
like you have a certain amount, 5 days a week, and Monday through Friday. If you play on the weekend, you pay additional $10 or $12 or whatever. you
Could we
pay.
have a senior 5-day and a senior 7-day?
What's that?
Have a senior 5-day pass and a senior 7-day pass.
Okay.
I think I think we would go senior pass is 5 days. If you want 7 days a week, you go to the adult pass.
Yeah, that's probably true. It'd be the same, yeah.
I know several, I was told Randy they would just upgrade to the adult pass.
they didn't say that's a big deal.
I would like to get feedback from the other courses. I mean, I hate to say it, but Auburn's a little different typically on the. I believe.
Well, could we not just do a survey? Or is that?
You can. I want to be very specific and I mean, it needs to be, do you prefer an increase or do you prefer a 5-day pass? That's your only option. If you open that up, it's going to go all. And kind of like you said, made a comment last meeting about the only people that are going to respond are going to be the people. So, yeah.
It just is a little less anecdotal than if we just go out and talk to guys, but I suppose that's.
I didn't know how to do it. And I know that senior league is a big league. I think they have like 90 or 100 some guys. They'll have 50 or 60 guys every Wednesday. So I just thought, well, that's a good
Sure.
place to go get some data.
I'm surprised by what you found out, to be real
What do you
honest.
think, Mike, the guys that you play with out there, what do you think they would, have you had any discussion?
Those guys, most of them only play 5 days. Most of them do. I mean, there's several of them that play in a different game on Saturday and Sunday, and they do use their passes, obviously. But of those 15 to 25 that regularly play, probably 80% or 90% of them are all just play on weekday.
Yeah, that's what I got a lot of. And I was kind of surprised, but that's.
Marshall, what do you think about the ladies that you?
Most of the older ladies don't play on weekends. So I don't think this would bother them too much. And I will say this, the other piece of data I guess I could bring to the table is that Willow Bend recently did this. I say recently, 2 years ago or something. They came out with a new structure for those of us who were members that you could either sort of keep your membership the same and do a 5 days only, 7. And I was amazed at the number of people, this wasn't just seniors, this was across the board. I was pretty amazed at the number of people who went for the 5-day. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by what you found out, but it kind of.
Okay, if they did that, what kind of impact did they have over the weekend?
Seemed to still be fairly full, just selling green fees.
Increasing revenue. Green fees are, if you get a foursome, that's $200 every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of money over the course of a year and 4 courses.
I mean, I think there's still, again, just speaking from anecdotally what I see out in my back deck, I think they're pretty full.
Will be full. The prom course I had in Virginia, that's the exact setup. Senior pass was 5-day, full pass was 7-day, and it was way more. It was $6,000. The senior pass was 2,900, I think, and it was a 5-day pass. different ballgame out there, but it was that big of a difference, but it was 5 day versus 7 day.
I think it was in the past that you had two different type of memberships, like 10, 15 years ago. That if you had to play, during the week, it's certain price. If you wanted 7 days, you paid different price also.
So,
I know they got away from that. They set up that new.
yeah, I don't want to get too complicated with different memberships. I would like to just keep it, senior pass is 5 days. All the others stay the same.
Yeah.
So the only difference would be if you're falling into that senior category, do you want this one or this one? You start getting too much going on, you got people at the course, they don't know how to charge people, so.
Yeah, and I had several guys tell me too that they're on a budget and these raises aren't in their budget. And I kind of understand, once you retire, that's your money. It doesn't change from month to month. It is what it is. And so several of them kind of indicated that and that they really like the idea of the 5 days. So, I don't.
Most of the guys I play with, seniors, they never play the weekend. So when they do play the weekends, this way have a chance to go to the other courses. They city during the week and then, Sand Creek or Hidden Lake, something like that on the weekends.
You play every day.
4 times a week.
I think the good thing is it does put an option out there for them to keep the 5 day and then they don't get a raise. Or if they want to bump it up, they can bump it up. It kind of puts it in their ballpark, like, here's your options now. You have an option to do this or that. And I always think it's good to give people options. That way they can kind of choose what's right for them. Everybody's in a different set of circumstances.
Yeah, basically, it's just like we said. The old green fee, everything was split. It wasn't Saturday and Sunday, it was Saturday, Sunday and holidays. That was considered that. And then the other was the 5 day excluding those days. And when they went away from that about 5 or 6 years ago, it kind of skewed the whole thing. And they basically, the reason they did that was so that they would have some funds coming in December, January, February, and through the past.
Consistent revenue stream.
But
That's
what
a
happened
nice thing.
is when they got done, it skewed the various categories to where they weren't quite equitable anymore. So, which is what you're seeing.
6 years ago, golf courses were in panic mode in December.
Yeah,
You had nothing coming in and a lot of expenses, so.
that was during the time frame when golf courses were getting shut down. So, the housing developments for them.
So if we did this, the lower grid there, seniors would not have the $5 increase. We're really not going to increase them at all.
Instead of that being 77, that would be
Right.
$70.12 or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the hope or the expectation would be some of them would move to the full green fee. And we would have more openings on the weekend if those folks choose not to do that. Great. Not trying to override our members, but if we can increase green fee play, that's the quickest way for us to get money up. I mean, if you can add 3 tee times at each course per day, you add that, let me just see, that's 2. Sounds like nothing. That is.
I was pretty shocked earlier this meeting when you were doing the finance report, because that City Hall line is memberships, right?
Memberships and tournament entry.
Tournament's probably a big chunk of that, because I was up 130 year to date, was
Yeah,
it?
it's up one, yeah. I'll say 30 weekends. So if we did 3 tee times of green fee play per day at each course, just on Saturday and Sunday, that's $150,000 increase in revenue. And green fee play will go up fast. That's 144,000.
I think that idea is marketable. I mean, there are going to be some who are going to say, okay, I'm paying the same thing, but my services are reduced, and they're going to do that math and figure out that, they don't like it. But the majority of them are just going to say, oh, I can't play weekends. I don't care. I never play weekends.
Yeah.
And you didn't raise my fees. I think that's probably going to be the majority.
Yeah, and the fact that all the others are getting their fees
Yeah.
raised.
I think the seniors are going to feel special about this in a way. There'll be some that won't,
I think
obviously, but
75% would be okay, like 25. Then it's like, well, if you want to play 7 days, there's another membership option for you. It is more expensive, but you're getting the weekend.
Crazy thought.
Like it already.
What if we change all the passes to 5 days? Have one option that's a annual pass that's.
I think the only kickback with that would be a lot of the adults would say, I have a membership and I work during the week. That's the only thing I can't play. We had no member play on the weekend. Back up some cash.
If you could bump that 7-day pass to where it's somewhat substantial compared to the 5-day pass, you'll have a good balance of people getting that and then a bunch of free fee play on
Right.
weekends.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably, like I said, the crazy thought.
We would lose most of the
Yeah.
adult thing. Couples probably.
So in your mind, Jesse, when should we have a plan to get out to the masses and say, this is going to be effective March 1, whatever?
I think first of the year would be the latest. That would give us 2 months to blast it everywhere. I mean, I wouldn't even mind if we tried to set a goal for December 15th or something, you know. Earlier the better, I think, but
Did you say December 15th?
I think earlier the better, but I also want to do our due diligence to talk to people and whatever we need to do to get the right plan.
I think you should do it on the 25th.
I'll make a video wearing a Santa hat.
Christmas.
Evil sometimes, you know?
Flat on me.
Well, if you're gonna put it out in December, make sure it's after the meeting in December.
Meeting should be,
It's the 17th.
take that.
Are you thinking about raising the green fee also? That's a great idea, you know.
Yeah, we'd,
Where are you gonna go to, do you know?
at 3.
Last year,
I think we went to 3 and 4, or 3 for during the week and 4 on the weekends, something like that.
It's kind of my notes, not with me, though.
I think I
I know last time we did it, it was like, I think it was 2 and 3, and you said, oh, let's go 3 and 4.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna care if they pay 3 or 44. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that adds up again too. So
No, I think if you play at Auburn with the green fee on during the week and cart fee is what, $47, $47.50,
47.
47.
don't forget, we are gonna get rid of that 50 cent on the range ball.
And the range balls are gonna go from 850 to 9.
9. So what are you thinking, more like $3 to $4 more?
So
Green fee, $3 to $4 more dollars?
I think we were saying 3 during the week, 4 on the weekend.
I think that's what we had planned up there, I believe.
I don't think that's where we started, but that might be
No,
where we
right,
finished, yeah.
Right. I think we started at 2 and 3 and then.
So one thing we talked about last week, we don't want to do another dues increase. Once we do this, we don't want to come back 8 months later and do it again. So if we're gonna do one, let's get it where we want it.
That, and I think we need to be sure that we can quantify, this is gonna raise at least that $200,000 that Glasscock put in that motion. So you probably wanted it about 250,000 really. So give yourself some wiggle room there, but you have to quantify that somehow. This is how we're. Yeah, you're raising the price of hot dogs or whatever, but then.
Yeah, the one thing I can't have happen is council come back to me and say, show me this, and they say, well, how are you gonna get there? And I say, well, we hope, I've got to say that we're very confident 200,000 will be going for 300,000 to guarantee we get 200,000, hoping to get 350,000.
People play on the weekend, they'd be happy to get a tea time and they don't even care how much they pay.
What would be the plan between now? I mean, I know you've done a lot of talking, we've thought about it a lot, but is there anybody have any plans, like concrete plans that we could definitely do to gather more information or get more feedback? Any ideas?
I would try to talk to some of the clubs there at McDonald's and see outside of the ones that I play with, what their thoughts are.
Do they have a senior league or,
Yeah.
do they?
I think so. I mean, I see them out there. There's a women's league there too. I see every week. Get a
Yeah,
hold
I
of
could go talk to the women's group too, because I know several of those are retired now too, so.
Well,
I
we
could
have
do
a
that.
mechanism of citywide women's clubs, so we could reach out to all women's clubs on a
Okay.
Oh, okay,
database.
that'd be easier then.
See, we're really organized on the site,
Yeah.
so yeah, we could, I mean, if we
Through
did, want-
email, do you want to get 700 emails back?
I don't, but Paula Routen might.
She's on her way out of that.
That's right, she's on her way out, let's just, yeah. So I mean, if we did want to create a pretty concrete survey, I
Okay.
could survey the women.
Yeah.
A or B, like you were saying, and a lot of them aren't members, so we could have to do something about green fees. We have to ask the question.
Right.
Would you reduce your play or something if the green fees went up $3 or whatever?
But-
I figure out how to work that.
Say, as mandated by city council, here's what we have to do. We're exploring, trying to come up with the best options. Which do you prefer? That way. Stress that this is for new irrigation that is increase or improve their
Yeah.
experience.
So I think we need to ask for members and we need to ask for green fee payers. A different question.
And just a lot of the way the board collects feedback. I mean, the more specific the proposal, the November meeting, I think almost will solicit feedback for the December meeting, kind of too. So just the earlier that there is something kind of concrete, just based on our experience the last time, a lot of people, once they saw that, kind of then reached out a little bit more directly too. So just earlier the better, kind of.
I think the increase on the other memberships that's gonna happen. I think what we need to figure out now is for the seniors, do you prefer higher fees or 5 days?
Yeah, and if you know you're gonna do that, and we can look at the numbers again. I mean, we may even want to go another $1 or so on each of those other memberships. I mean, we might want to bump that up a little bit. I don't know. I'm just saying that after you see the numbers, then you can kind of make that determination if. I just want you to be sure when you go in and talk to the council that you say, we are gonna make that 200, whatever. Well, we're gonna.
Well, we certainly also have a full database of members. I mean, if we're gonna create the survey, if we think that's a reasonable idea, a way to gather data rather than doing it anecdotally, and I'm not saying that's the better way, but if we think it's the better way, then we could do the survey through the database
Send it through.
that y'all have.
So I can create, every senior member is tagged with a senior membership, so I could send in.
So you could ask them specifically, A or B. And do we know-
Really want you guys to just.
Is there no way to pull, for people who pay green fees, we don't get email addresses, do we?
Yeah, they're 90% of the time, not always, but yeah.
So
They
could we
have to,
take
for them
that
to be on the T sheet, they have to have an account.
So couldn't we take that database as well and ask the question about, would you play less if we raised your green fee $3 or however we want to word that? So that we have a very specific set of data for members and we have a very specific set of data for green fee payers.
Well, green fee payers, I mean, that's gonna go up. I mean, there's not an option there, right? Is there a this
The
or that
option
on
is they
that?
quit- the option is they go someplace else.
Oh,
That's the option.
yeah, that doesn't change what we're gonna do as far as raising the rates. We're still gonna raise the rates.
If they say, yeah, I'm going somewhere else, we still have to do the increase, so.
True. I mean, if we're convinced that we're gonna make that change, no matter what that answer is, we don't need to ask the question. We don't want to ask a question. We already know the
To
answer.
be honest, the green fee players, whatever, counter pretty much.
It's like you were saying, if I get a tea time,
Yeah, they have to.
The only thing they say is, holy cow, I paid 70 at so-and-so.
Yeah. I think the only time when you go into, if they're used to paying 48 and now it's 50, that different number in the beginning will trigger them
Yeah.
first. Like,
That's the one that triggered you.
I never paid 50 before. Oh, you paid 48. You know, it's not a big difference, but it's kind of the $9.99 is a lot cheaper than $10 theory. So
Okay, so what's the plan? Can address just senior members?
yeah, I think that's the only one that we have to make a decision on which way we want to do it. I can put out the survey. I can work on that. I'd still, if you have an opportunity, I would ask to still try to communicate. Because
You put that out.
survey, they may just delete it, not even read it. So I'll still get as much feedback.
You're not gonna get, what's the going rate these days, like a 65% return on a basic surveys.
Yeah, that would be awesome if we got.
You get some of those emails like you get from that last video. I read a couple of those. Man,
Oh, that was child's play.
I mean,
Yeah,
I still remember the guy's name.
that went way better than I expected it to.
The tea time one?
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
I mean, I said before I put that out, I told Shannon, I'm like, I kind of just want this to get out. I just want to, I mean, the comments are going to be horrible, but I knew it. Actually, have talked to CPS. They're working on, see if there's a way that staff they can see the T-sheet 7 days in advance, obviously, but they can't book anything. The only person that would be able to book would be the head pro, or the assistant pro, or me, and they would have a code to book. That would eliminate if someone says, well, they're so-and-so in the shops, book them early. No, they didn't. That's impossible. Trying to just eliminate any opportunity for someone getting preferred tee times, unless they go through the head pro or through the, with a group or outing or whatever. But it doesn't exist. But one of the guys at CPS, he's actually pretty good to work with. He said he was going to rack his brain and see if he could come up with a way to do that. It's unreal.
I'm just remembering some
Clarification for the purpose there.
conversations of CPS people like that.
You're
Pleasure of dealing with.
talking about a senior pass going,
Well, one that I enjoy talking to.
for clarification, if I talk to the guys, senior pass, we go to a 5-day with no increase in fee. Is that what we're actually saying, right?
Right.
And they could buy the 7-day pass as just going to the regular pass. There would be no senior 7-day pass. You're just saying they're going to go
Big jump.
whatever. Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's your senior.
Show them that if they,
Yeah, they would go from $70 to
125 after 5 days.
Yeah.
Why? That increase.
Exactly.
You're gonna do the math. You gonna do the math?
25, you're talking $55 a month. $55 a month. You're
You
talking
don't, you do.
The other option is doing what a lot of us saying, and
another $620 a year.
50 bucks or so if you play on the weekend.
48 more a month.
the other option would say you have a senior membership. If you do play on the weekend, there's going to be an additional $15 charge. So maybe you're only doing that once a month.
That's what, yeah. Yeah.
That again gets more complicated at the register now.
That would be more appealing. Yeah, and sometimes people don't even come in and check in.
Yep.
I just,
Well, and I can't tell you how many people lie at the register about their membership type, their whatever. It's
I think the. Better.
I got the easy side of things. I got the easy side of things.
Right.
yeah, I mean, the 5-day, my gut tells me the 5-day, they're gonna say great. And the guys that wanna play every day are gonna be fine.
We could even package, and it's not a lot. We could package this as we have to do a dues increase. We're trying to figure out how to not hit seniors with more. You know, there's some fixed income there, whatever. So in order to not raise your rates, this is what we're trying to do. I mean, and that's really not a lot. I mean, that's what we're doing. I would really enjoy not raising the senior rate if we don't have to. So if we can drop them to 5 with that option, that would.
I was surprised at how many people explained to me that the budget and they don't have wiggle room in their budget. They just, you know, they've been trying for years and years. They just.
I'll hear that a lot, especially. I'll hear that a lot, that they don't have room for a raise.
I mean, I'm not making this up and it's impressive, honestly. I've come in and they know they play this many times a month and they get a soda every time with a candy bar. They know they've got it down to the penny and that's factored into their,
No, that's serious.
no, it really is. Sounds crazy. It's kind of impressive. I have no idea what I spend ever.
It was interesting to talk to guys about it because, like I say, everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different mindset.
Yeah, it's a heck of a deal if you're part of the 75% that only plays 5 days a week.
Yeah, for sure.
And there you're dropping
If
your
you're-
$14 down to 10.
If you're a senior who wants to play on weekends, I was just trying to think this through. So my option is I play 5 days for $77, or I play 7 days for $125. If I go for the $125, I'm paying $48 a month more
Around a week.
but for $48 more a month, Saturdays and Sundays,
Well, if you only
I only
play,
have to play twice
No, I'm saying.
and I'm ahead of the game. Yeah.
if you only
I
play,
have 8 days that I can play 2 of and I'm ahead of the game.
if you only play one weekend, you would just pay a regular green fee.
Right.
On top of your pass. I mean, you would,
Right, that's what I'm
You
saying.
would
That's kind of
switch
the
that.
break even
I mean,
point. There's 2 out of the 8 days I can't play. If I play more than that, than 2 days, I ought to buy the adult pass. Is what I'm saying. If I only play a couple of Saturdays a month.
That large club that you have on Saturdays, are most of those seniors?
yeah, on Wednesday morning.
What about that
No,
Saturday?
the Saturday club,
Oh, my men's club?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they're all seniors.
I would say like 75%.
So what's gonna happen to
If I-
them?
They're gonna be paying that extra every week.
They're gonna pay the green fee.
Some of them are gonna do that and be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's easy. I'm gonna go to the 125. and
Sure.
Right. Like, oh, you're jumping up to 125.
Yeah, because if they play every Saturday, 4 green fees is gonna make up the difference
Yeah, it's
between
gonna make a big difference.
to the adult.
Everybody has to do the math for themselves.
They're welcome to keep the senior and pay his green fees every Saturday. Not a problem.
I honestly, because I kind of think it helps with the freeing up some of the weekend, maybe, not, maybe that do it. I don't know. But if we can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone a little bit, that's just kind of, I think, why it appeals to me. But
Okay, so gather information ourselves and consider a simple 2-question survey.
So I'm gonna put together a survey, send that to them in an email and say, can I get, or.
Can you like send me an email about that just to make sure
Okay.
how we do that? It's just a little different. What's up?
Send it to them one by one. Say what.
Well, yeah, but then everybody's just, touch base with me about it. We'll try to basically set it up so it's not necessarily an actionable item based on the survey. So it's not something the board is gonna take action on, so we can communicate about it.
Gotcha.
So that's basically it. Otherwise, we're communicating with everybody about the same thing, and that's kind of the same as,
What?
Sounds
open meetings, sort of stuff, yeah.
You probably know, but it's a big deal. We can't, away from a advertised meeting, we can't communicate as a group because it looks like we're having a meeting. No one knew about it. So I gotta be careful about sending group emails to everyone.
Appreciate you thinking of that, though. Good to see.
I'm terrified. Oh my God, I'm like, no.
yes,
We're done with that topic. I have one more question. What's the timeline and has the committee already been put together to deal with the new park director?
I've heard nothing on that. I don't have that answer. I've not heard anything about, I'm sure city manager is working on that, but nothing's been put out about
Yeah, there's nothing that's, public or formal yet, but they are kind of just looking into it. And I think the idea being a bit edgy there, not as, not that they're not trying to figure it out as quickly as possible,
Sure.
but it wasn't like we need to decide in 3 days, sort of thing, since Reggie
So-
stepped in. So it's a bit more of a information gathering,
So that,
search kind
So
of thing.
whenever that topic is discussed, wherever it's discussed, I certainly hope that the search committee and or interview committee would include one of us.
I think you guys could send an email to council person or to city manager.
Or even to Reggie would be fine.
And I know
Oh, I'm sorry, Reggie Davidson, the interim director of Park. We were talking about it a little bit at Park Board yesterday, so I think touching base with him is totally fine too.
Or city council members.
Oh, of course, yeah.
yeah, they were.
But it'll probably be a bit more the managers
At the last meeting,
doing
they
that.
were talking about if there is a committee that's put together, like a panel or whatever, to help with this process to find that person, they would like some representation of golf in that committee. So I don't know how that process is gonna look, but
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not sure necessarily either, but yeah, check in with people earlier and you got the right folks.
Might be a deal, Marcia, where as a council, I'm trying to dump it off on you. Liaison
To do it.
to represent us, just send it out saying that the board would like to have some input. For this process. All right, any further business? Then entertain a motion for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
See everybody.
See you.
I saw you the other night, Judge. I was out there watching you strut out there on the court.
how would
I say,
like to connect you and
What was the big deal with the coach from